The story of Johann Sebastian Bach. Once upon a time, in a small town in Germany, there was a little boy named Johann Sebastian Bach. He was born on March 31, 1685, on a beautiful spring day. His family was very special because many of his relatives were musicians. His father, Johann Ambrosius Bach, played the violin, and his mother, Maria Elizabeth Bach, loved music too. Music was everywhere in their house. From the time Johann was very little, he loved to listen to music. He loved the sound of the violin, the soft sound of the piano, and the loud sounds of the organ. His father, who was a musician, taught him how to play the violin. Johann was very good at it. He loved playing the violin and would play for hours every day. Johann didn't just love playing music. He also loved the way music made him feel. When he played the violin, it felt like his heart was dancing with joy. When Johann was 7 years old, something sad happened. His mother passed away, and he moved to live with his older brother, Christoph, in a city called Lüneburg. Christoph was a musician too, and he took good care of Johann. In Lüneburg, Johann went to a special school where he could learn more about music. He was very excited to learn new things. Johann learned how to play the organ, the harpsichord, and even the clavichord, which is a piano-like instrument. He worked hard every day to become better and better at playing music. He was determined to follow in his family's footsteps and become a great musician. Johann spent many hours at the school practicing. He loved writing music down on paper so other people could play it. This was something special about Johann. He didn't just want to play music. He wanted to create his own music too. He loved experimenting with different sounds, mixing them together, and creating beautiful melodies that would make people smile, laugh, or even feel a little bit sad. When Johann was 18 years old, he decided to go to a town called Arnstadt to get a job as an organist. This was a big opportunity for him, and he was very excited. Johann played the organ at a church there. People were amazed by how well he played. He didn't just play the music written by other people. Johann wrote his own beautiful music and played it for everyone to hear. His music was different. It had beautiful melodies that made people feel happy, peaceful, and even excited. His music was so special that people started traveling from other towns just to listen to him play. But Johann didn't just want to play the organ at church. He wanted to create more music that would be remembered for a long time. So, he moved to another town called Mühlhausen, where he could write even more music. There, he continued to compose and perform. He wrote music for many instruments like the violin, the harpsichord, and even the trumpet. His music was so powerful and beautiful that people could feel the emotions in every note. Johann didn't stop there. In 1723, Johann got an important job in a big city called Leipzig. He became the director of music at 2 big churches there. His job was to write music for the church, teach music to children, and make sure that all the musicians played well together. Johann worked very hard. He wrote many pieces of music for the church, like big choral works and beautiful hymns. He also worked with many talented singers and musicians, helping them become better at what they did. Johann loved creating new music. He wrote over 1,000 pieces of music in his lifetime. Some of his most famous works are the Brandenburg Concertos, the Well-Tempered Clavier, and Mass in B minor. The Brandenburg Concertos were especially special because they showed off the beauty of many different instruments, like violins, trumpets, and flutes. His music was full of energy, and every piece told a different story. Some of his music was lively and happy, and other pieces were slow and peaceful. He used music to express different feelings and emotions, and his listeners loved every moment of it. But even though Johann was very talented, not everyone knew just how great he was at the time. While he was alive, not many people understood his music the way we do today. Some people didn't think his music was as important as the music written by other composers. But Johann didn't mind. He loved music for its own sake and worked hard to create what he loved. He didn't worry about what others thought. He knew his music was special, and he just wanted to share it with the world. At the end of his life, Johann was not as famous as he would be many years later. But as time passed, more and more people began to see just how wonderful his music was. His pieces were rediscovered by other musicians, and soon, people all over the world started to listen to his music. It became clear that Johann Sebastian Bach was one of the greatest composers who ever lived. Today, his music is loved by people all over the world. Musicians play his pieces in concerts and churches, and his music is heard everywhere, from concert halls to movies, even in the background of video games. People still talk about Johann and his amazing ability to create beautiful music that makes you feel all sorts of emotions. He is remembered as one of the greatest composers of all time. His story teaches us an important lesson. When you love something, like music, you should never stop following your dreams. Johann worked hard every day to create his music, and even when people didn't understand it at first, he kept going. His love for music never stopped, and because of that, his music will live on forever. And that's the story of Johann Sebastian Bach, a boy who grew up to write the most beautiful music the world has ever known. His music is still loved today, and it reminds us to always follow our hearts and never give up on our dreams.